For the past 2 years, the Sony a7 IV has been my go-to camera. It's full frame, 33 megapixels, excellent video, excellent photo quality. I love it. But a couple months ago, I picked up the Sony FX30. It's a cinema line camera. It has a 26 megapixel sensor, and it's APS-C, or crop sensor. Now, as a wedding filmmaker, I wanted to see how this would perform on a full wedding day. So let's talk about the good, the bad, and the crop sensor. Some things I loved about the FX30 is the fact that it has a built-in fan. Now, when I originally wrote this script, I said it's only happened once ever with the a7 IV that I had the overheating warning come up. Luckily, the camera did not overheat. I was shooting in 4K, 24 frames per second, handheld, so maybe my hand was holding the camera a little too tight. I don't know. But yesterday, literally just yesterday, I was using two a7 IIIs shooting 4K. One was on a tripod, one was on a gimbal, 24 frames per second. They both overheated, which is crazy. I've never had that happen before. But the FX30 has a built-in fan, so that way you don't have to worry about overheating. I knew that was a plus, but now, literally, as of yesterday, I'm like, that is a plus. Or else, I mean, next time I see that warning, I'm gonna be damn near blowing on it, trying to cool it down. The third thing I like about it actually is that it's a crop sensor. So for two main reasons. One, on the a7 IV, if you're shooting 4K 24 frames per second, it's full frame. If you're shooting 4K 60 frames per second, it crops into a crop sensor camera. So you always have to do that math or think about it. All right, the shot, if I change it now, is gonna look a little bit more zoomed in. Where the FX30, everything's cropped. So you already know, all right, this is what it looks like in 24 frames per second. I switch it to 60. There's no additional crop. This is what it looks like, this is what it's going to look like. So it just makes it a little bit easier to have an idea of what your framing is going to be. And second, especially using it as a groom camera, one off to the side, it gives you that extra zoom. So if I have, let's say the 24 to 105 on here at 105, that really becomes about a 150 millimeter lens. A 70 to 200 at 200 really would become about a 300 millimeter lens. So just having that extra zoom without losing quality or anything, as long as you're thinking about it and you know how to utilize it, that can be a huge plus as well. However, on the other hand, the crop can be a little bit limiting if you don't have the right lenses. So if you need a wide angle shot, an establishing shot, you need to keep in mind that it's times 1.5. So it can work to your advantage for the tighter scenarios, but for a wide shot, that's when you can be struggling a little bit. So the first time that I brought it out, I used the 28 to 75, which really meant the 28 was about a 42 millimeter. So for a wide establishing shot of the venue, you had to step very far back in order to get something like that. Now, a wide angle lens for a crop sensor camera is less expensive than a wide angle lens for a full frame camera, so you can make it work to your advantage. Again, it's just something you have to think about ahead of time, something that you have to know going into the scenario. As long as you're prepared, you can make it work. Second, again, relating to the sensor size, is the performance in lower light. Once it was time to go inside, into the reception and for the speeches, and being a crop sensor camera, it's not as good in low light as a full frame camera. So it is going to get noisier shots in lower light. The sun was down already. By now it's nighttime. It's going to be noisy. The only way you could possibly get around it is maybe with like a 1.4, 1.8 aperture, but I had it on an f2.8 lens. So that was the widest open I can get. Third is the battery life. This thing eats battery. Maybe it's because the fan is always running as well, but the battery life on the FX30, in my opinion, is dramatically different than the battery life on the a7 IV. This thing, it'll chew through batteries. So you need to make sure you have either V-mount, or if you're trying to go light, multiple batteries ready to go. So closing thoughts. This camera, right now it's on sale, link in the bio. It's about 1,500 bucks, which I know it's still a lot for a lot of people, but in camera terms, you're getting a lot of camera for $1,500. In my opinion, it does make for a great camera for weddings. All the problems we talked about could be solved with preparation. Wide angle lens for the establishing shot, reception lighting for when you're inside, and multiple batteries or V-mount. One of the things I love with Sony cameras is how many lens options there are, third party or Sony, so you have the ability to find exactly what it is that you're looking for. And if not, just wait a little bit and it'll probably come out because there's new lenses coming out all the time. At least that's what it feels like. I don't believe this will be my main camera for weddings, but as a second camera, very happy with this pick. Let me know what else you want to see. Subscribe for more.